So we go back to the police and deliver the intel. And they say, okay, go in and buy a kid. And there's this amazing footage of this, right? Where we walk in, and I don't think it matters. I'm just going to buy any kid. And I walk in, and right as I'm looking for a kid to buy, this little boy just turns around. Like, it's like an angel whispered, turn around. That's what it looks like. He just goes about face and then walks up to me and puts his arms up.
Yeah, that was Collet, right?
Yeah, and that's Collet, my son. So I pick him up and I'm like, well, I guess God's telling me this is the kid we're going to use in the sting operation. Hey guys, Tim Ballard here. This is In the Trenches. These are the stories of Operation Underground Railroad, our successes, our challenges, our operations. And if you want to donate to make sure that we can continue to make these stories by doing real rescue operations, please go to ourrescue.org and help us out. Thanks so much. Hey guys, welcome to a new episode of In the Trenches. We want to bring you into our operations, into the narrative that is the story of o.u.r, how we were built, what we do, how we have grown, how we approach the problem of modern day slavery and child slavery and human trafficking. And we're just really excited to kick it off. And the very first episode, I brought this guy. His name is Matt Cooper. Matt Cooper is employee number one, first guy that we hired. I'm going to let Matt Cooper just tell you what his impressions are. We're coming at 10 years. Can you believe that? One day you get a phone call from me, a crazy phone call, just kind of out of the blue, right? We met because I was your professor.
All right.
Crazy. Tell me about that, how we met and how you ended up being the first employee. And when you got that crazy phone call like, hey, you want to quit everything and start something with me?
Oh, what was that? Maybe 2011 or 12. We were down in the Imperial Valley, kind of the southeast corner of California, sort of the armpit of California. Tim was an agent down there on the border. That's where I grew up, actually. So at night, he was a professor at Imperial Valley College. I took a course from him. I just got married and took a course in, it was international relationships.
That's right.
Yeah, so international politics, and at the same time, you were working on some books. And I think we connected over that. And I was already looking at, because I had some things that kept me out of the military, some medical history, I was looking at law enforcement career. So I was really curious to learn about everything you were doing. You're like, yeah, man, it's a really cool job. I kick in doors and carry guns. And, I was like, no, look at my shirt. I'm like, yeah, that's what I wanted to hear. That's what I want to do. I became interested in that. And our friendship you just kind of kept giving me things to do. And then maybe like 2 years later, I get a call and you say, I think I can hire you for a year. And I said, well,
at least a year.
Yeah, like at least a year. I was like, oh, all right, moving to Utah. So just packed up a trailer, dropped out of school, and moved to Utah. And then now it's been 10 years. So we keep renewing every year.
Crazy? I go back to that, and I honestly often think, what was I thinking? Like, there was no model. There was no manual. Like, how do you really privatize the rescue operation? That the way I see it, the way I knew it would work, based on my, over 10 years working these kind of cases, and just being stopped and blocked so often because of bureaucracy or jurisdictional limitations, and just watching kids fall through the cracks because of just the nature of how governments operate. This, human trafficking is so transnational. Mm-hmm. But it knows no borders and boundaries. But unfortunately, politics and bureaucracy, those things do know borders and boundaries,
right?
And they stop you. And so, but it was crazy because it was like, how do I do this? How do I run a business? How do I bring in money to do this thing? I pitched the idea to Glenn Beck. We raised like $500,000 or something. And then it was like, oh my gosh, I have to quit now. And that's not very much money. Right. And I was like, who do I have to have somebody. Like, I can't just do everything alone. I need someone to collect the receipts and keep them in a trash bag, which is what you did. And you're like, yeah, I'll come up. you just like roll in with your family.
Yeah.
And like, we had a little barn our neighbor let us use. And we're just like, okay, now what? Like, I don't know. Well, keep all the receipts. I'm sure we're probably going to need them. And do you remember what the first thing obviously all we know is we got to go rescue. So what do you remember? Like, what was the first move we made? What was the first flight we got on, and what did we do? Like, how did we start?
Yeah, I think I remember the first tickets that I booked for a team, and at the time I was helping mostly logistically. We kind of did like a 3-country. I think you went down to like El Salvador. You went to visit Batman, and then I think you jumped over to Colombia. You think you said hi to them, and then you went over to Haiti, and started getting things going on that. You were like getting cases going in those 3 countries. Like, hey, Batman, hey, Cartagena, that's where Triple Take ultimately happened. And then you went over to Haiti, and remember you called me because there were some hiccups logistically and chewed me out or whatever. I don't know. It's PTSD from those days. I've forgotten about it, but
I don't know what you're talking about. I would never have done that. It was stressful.
Yeah, it was stressful.
Because like what, but we had specific leads that were carryovers from my cases in the government in both Haiti and in Colombia, right? And it was like, let's pick up where we left off, but will they still let us in? I don't have a badge anymore. Will they still allow us to do this? And we had enough money to do 2 operations probably, and then it was over. That's what was so scary. Because if we weren't successful on those ops, it's done. Who's going to keep giving us money? Like, that was crazy risky. But we knew it was the right thing to do. Both those operations, let's get into those in a second, but I want to fast forward because once those were crazy successful. The Haiti operation on February 19th, that was our first rescue. We launched off at early December 2013. By February 19th, we had our first rescue of 26 kids. And then 2 of those kids, I ended up adopting, right?
Right.
And then the next operation from there, we were in Dominican Republic and in Colombia. Mm-hmm. And that yielded the Colombia operation, which is in a documentary called Triple Take. That was over 120 rescues, 15 traffickers arrested. All that happened in a span of the operation itself was like an hour and a half or something. We were doing 3 cities at once. Becomes an Emmy-winning documentary and becomes a feature film. They're the basis for the feature film Center of Freedom. Isn't that crazy, those first operations? And then the first one in Haiti was, that was a documentary too called Operation Toussaint. Isn't it crazy? Our first 2 stories, it's like God blessed us with all the elements to make sure that it was something successful and something people might want to look at. Because not every operation comes off like that.
Right.
And it really was a blessing, right?
It was, yeah.
But those 2 operations, I'm going to go back in a second and have you give me your thoughts on what it was like. Because things are so different now, right? We have 150 employees. We have offices all over. We have MOUs. We have contracts. We have firewalls everywhere. But this is just 2 guys building a team to go do a rescue, right? Mm-hmm. And we were just back in Cartagena, a month ago?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Or maybe 3 weeks ago, maybe, whatever. But we were back testifying on that case. When those 2 cases popped, they were so impressive. And CBS News picked it up and, it was like, whoa, what happened? And all of a sudden people started thinking o.u.r. must be some established, in a skyrise, remember? And it was no, it's just us.
I know.
And I remember you told me the story once you were after a long day in Haiti, because all these donors started coming in. We're like, what do we do? The trash bag kept getting bigger and bigger of receipts.
There was about 7 trash bags.
Yeah, I was like, what do we do with these receipts? We should probably call an accountant or something.
I had them organized in the bags. Okay, they were like rubber bands around. This is Colombia trash bag, and this is Dominican trash bag.
No, it worked out. The accountant said, no, it's fine. You organized it well enough. But what's interesting is people have said, how dare you call this Operation Underground Railroad? How would you respond right now to that? Because they somehow, I don't get it. I also have been told, how dare you adopt 2 children who are black?
Right.
What? I don't understand. They're children.
Right, I know.
But how do you respond to that today?
We're honored to use the methods that they invented, 150, 170 years ago, and to call ourselves after their names. Because people ask oh man, I'm just a little civilian, what can I do? Well, what did they do? They were just regular people like you and me. And they came up with a solution. They called themselves the Underground Railroad.
Yeah, I mean, the Underground Railroad, one of the most beautiful things about the original Underground Railroad is that it in a time of horrific, bloody racism, right, that you couldn't even imagine, like led to the Civil War and so many other things, so much violence. But it was during that time that a group of people of all races, the Underground Railroad is made up of black people, white people, German Americans, Mexican Americans. There was a route into Mexico. That's something that should be like praised, and how great it is that we're trying to pay homage to that, because we need that today, right?
Absolutely.
And I love that name. I'll stand by that name because I stand by the original Underground Railroad. I asked somebody once who was attacking me about this. I said, if Frederick Douglass were here right now is talking, and I said, Mr. Douglass, is it okay that I invoke your name and your memory and all the good you did? Can I use that and as inspiration, even instruction, to rescue children who are being raped for money? And the person said to me, he would say, absolutely not. You can only use my name if you want to help just black people. Interesting. And that led to another conversation with somebody. Took offense at the fact that there was a picture of me.
I remember this. I was there, yeah.
Yeah, you were there, holding a black boy on my knee who was being rescued. That was literally the rescue moment, and someone snapped. Mark Mabry was in the car and snapped an undercover picture of it. And I said, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that?
Right.
She's like, it's white savior complex.
That's only something people care about that sit around in conference rooms that are nice and air conditioned in the United States. Like, nobody in Haiti cares what color you are if you can help them.
Do you think that kid cared? Like, oh, you know what? Can you bring someone who looks more like me to come rescue me? Right. Or do you think a white kid would be like, oh, I only want to be rescued by white people? The conversation was interesting because I pursued the line of questioning with this person, right? If you remember, and I said, what would you have me do? We have intel on children in Haiti. We also have intel on children in the U.S. and in Mexico and in Europe and all over the world. But this case was in Haiti. That's where the intel came. We went down there and rescued these children, 26 of them. And by the way, the kid on my lap is my son, so that should be a little awkward for you. And she was like, what? And I said, what should I do about my Christmas card? Should I blur their faces out? Would that be good for them? Should I not work in Haiti? So should we have a policy that says o.u.r. can only work in countries where white children will be rescued? Well, no, that would be super racist. Oh yeah, that would be, right? They don't even think it through. It's not even about rescue anymore. It's about who can be offended the most or something and play some virtue card. And I said, well, then what do I say? Well, then don't talk about it. Don't market the stories where you're saving children of color. I said, that doesn't seem right. And I said to her, have you heard of Elizabeth Smart? She's like, yeah, of course. Okay. Is what happened to Elizabeth, and this person's in the anti-trafficking world, is what happened to Elizabeth Smart something that is unusual? Or is it pretty common? Happens every day, all throughout the world, yeah. But all those people, all those kids all over the world don't get their faces put on Time Magazine and People Magazine and have every news outlet talking about how they were just abducted, do they? Well, no. How come Elizabeth got that? Well, because she was a little white girl in Salt Lake City. I said, exactly. And what you just told me was to follow that pattern. You just told me that I should only tell the stories of the white kids. Do you think the media helped? Absolutely. Someone saw and said, is that girl? They all were talking about her. I helped her get rescued. So you want me to go to my friends in Haiti and my friends in Colombia and Mexico and anywhere else where there might be children of color and tell them, hey, sorry, I can't tell the good work you're doing. I can't talk about the cases you need to talk about because someone might be offended if a white person is helping a person of color. Do you remember what she did? She got up and walked out of the room.
Yeah.
Because she couldn't answer the question. Like, we're just trying to rescue kids, and we have to fight already another battlefield I didn't know we had to fight. It's hard enough fighting human traffickers who have kidnapped children. But no, there's a whole nother contingent, the so-called good guys over here, who want to just attack us, somehow calling us, you're racist because you're rescuing black kids. I got black operators who are rescuing white kids too. It doesn't matter. But it's just anything to find some card to play. I don't get it. But they're trying to stop us from rescuing children.
I know, that's the one that didn't make sense and was unexpected totally in our first, going into it. Didn't see that coming at all.
I remember this black woman I was talking to, and she was a friend. We'd shared the stage together on different venues. And she went so far as to say, I can't believe you're calling it slavery. You can't use the word slavery. That's only the word we can use. I said, really?
I remember that.
You were there too.
Yeah.
Right? I said, I don't understand. So where did slavery begin? Jewish people were slaves before, the transatlantic slave trade. Do they want that word? Are they trying to keep you from using that word? I don't understand. She said to me, the only people on earth today that are victims of slavery are people like me. And she's sitting there in this beautiful home. And in the other room at that time was a survivor who we had just helped, who had been raped, I think 60,000 times. And I thought to myself, she's not a slave. I can't call her a slave, but you are a victim of slavery. You. The result of that is kids get hurt and you still don't care. You'd still rather stand up and try to hurt our efforts. You don't call it slavery. What should I call it? I don't know. Slavery is what it is, and it gets people to the cause quick because that's what it is. And that's what saves them, because you tell the truth of what it is. You want me to make some fluffy words so that you feel better about your great-great-grandparents? I don't understand this. Frederick Douglass wouldn't let me. Who is he? Is he a total jerk? Of course not. I mean, Frederick Douglass fought for women's vote, for women's rights. He had other causes besides just, liberating his black brothers and sisters. Of course he would stand with us and rescue children of all colors. I hope that when we focus on the rescue, it helps people to see what racism actually is and what it isn't. Anyway, with that tangent, because I'm just going back and I was having all these thoughts of these are the things we had to discuss as we launched. Who thought we were going to have to defend the name that was doing nothing but honoring people of all colors who had done a tremendous thing in the 19th century? Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
So with all that, without pressure, and who knew that pressure was going to continue to build in other areas, which we'll talk about on this show, but we go in with that. We go into Haiti anyway. And we get intel that there's a little boy who had been kidnapped and trafficked, and we didn't know much, but we knew no one was doing anything. And I got that intel as an agent, and I thought the kid was a U.S. citizen, have Haitian descent, right? Gardy Marty.
Right, Gardy.
We could help find this little kid. He was kidnapped in Haiti by Haitians. And I found the father, I flew him up, and he starts telling me his story. And it's just devastating me. I'm sobbing. I'm crying in this restaurant in Lehi, Utah. And he's telling me how his boy was taken in the middle of church. Just walked out by someone who the family knew, given over to traffickers, who then tried to ransom him off, which they did successfully, but they didn't turn the kid over, because why turn the kid over when you can sell the kid? And then a couple weeks after this is happening, the earthquake in January of 2010 hits. And Gesno, the father who's looking for his son, is watching his mother die, his brother, his sister, his friends, his wife almost dies. And that's while he's looking for his kid. So now he's burying his dead and looking for his lost kid. And what happened to him in the earthquake, right? Well, he got together enough intelligence to give to us. And he said, I think the people responsible for, or at least part of it, they're running this fake orphanage. Like, what do you mean a fake orphanage? How do you pull that off? And sure enough, they had pulled it off, because in a place like Haiti, it's so chaotic. No one's looking, no one's watching. You can have a compound full of kids and no one's going to bat an eye on it, right? So we get some intel, we gather, research the whole thing, and find out it is false. We flew drones over top. There's a couple dozen children in this place. What are they doing with them? If they can't adopt them out, what are they doing with them? Well, we assume they must be selling them. This is how there's millions of children forced into slavery, whether it's slave labor, organ harvesting, sex, trafficking. And so from there, the Haitian police don't know what they're doing. Like, guys, we got to infiltrate this place. Well, you guys go do it, because you look like you would infiltrate your American traffickers. Just cold call. It was a cold knock, right? Just walk in and see what's going on. So take it from there. I've never asked you this. I must be a selfish person to have never cared about your thoughts on this 10 years later. But I care now.
Well, better late than never. My involvement was, I remember pretty specifically, I actually was just helping logistically set it up. And then last minute, they're like, oh, we need toys to bring because if we're gonna take this down, then all these kids, we want to like give them toys. So I went to like Target, Walmart, filled up as many duffel bags as I could, and then I just showed up. I'm like, here I am, guys. And then I got thrown in ways that, I didn't even plan on into the op. So for me, I mean, it was just super eye-opening. I mean, I think that was probably like my second flight in my whole life. And then to go to, Haiti, it was all super new to me. I was exhausted when I got there.
It's like going to the moon.
It's like going to the moon.
I mean, Haiti is just like, you can't even believe it. Like,
you can't believe it. Exactly. And, I remember getting there and I was blown away by the team. I remember we had like team briefings with the police and a lot of planning that goes into like in all of our operations. And then we went in there, and you went in as an American couple.
So we just walked in, didn't explain what our intent was with the kids. They didn't ask, and it was right away. It was just, they're all for sale. It was like 5 minutes, and they just offered without us even soliciting. $10,000, and then they raised the price to $15,000. Here's how you do it. We've done that before. You evade police this way, that way. It's just like, this is insane. So we go back to the police and deliver the intel, and they say, okay, go in and buy a kid. And there's this amazing footage of this, right? Where we walk in, and I don't think it matters. I'm just going to buy any kid. And I walk in, and right as I'm looking for a kid to buy, this little boy just turns around, like it's like an angel whispered, "Turn around." That's what it looks like. He just goes about face, and then walks up to me and puts his arms up.
Yeah, that was Collet, right?
Yeah, and that's Collet, my son. So I pick him up, and I'm like, well, I guess God's telling me this is the kid we're going to use in the sting operation. And then I come to find out moments later that he's got a sister, or at least someone who claimed to be a sister.
Yeah, she had followed you around, like
she was following me around.
Let Collet out of her sight.
Yeah, and like she was like with this pissed look, like this guy. What's this Blanc? He called me Blanc.
Yeah,
hey, Blanc. It hit me what was happening. I gave her a candy bar. She remember like this is when we were like, I was hidden in a place. I was looking for Gardy. I had a camera on. I don't think it was actually functioning, but I had a camera on. I was just trying to look for all the kids and get a count, and I was holding Collet, so it looked like I was just like hanging out. He was showing me his room, whatever. And I had the traffickers were distracted because Andrew was negotiating the price of the kids. And this little girl kept following me. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you're kind of freaking me out, Like, here, take this candy bar and get out of here. And she like takes the candy bar, looks at me and like breaks it like this and gives the other half to Collet. And that's when it hit me like, okay, that's an unusual act for a 2-year-old, right, to do.
No.
And then I put Collet down, and she just grabbed him, put him behind her, just like put herself between me and him. I was like,
that was awesome.
Who is this kid? And so I told her in the best I could, in my broken Creole, and you can talk to kids in an interesting way, right? They get it, and I think she got it. She's like, I'm keeping you together. I'm getting you out of here. And then from that point on, she changed. Her countenance was like, and she started calling me Papa Blanc. Collet still called me Blanc, but she's like, Papa Blanc?
No, that day?
Yeah.
On the op day?
Yes.
Oh, I thought that came after. Wow.
No, she started calling me Papa Blanc right away. Anyway, so we take the kids to a different place to buy them. We take them to a hotel that's very, cameras and audio, everything hidden, so we can really get the intent of what these people are doing, right? And they repeat everything. These kids are for sale. Here's how you evade the police. It was a perfect case, right? And then, they end up getting arrested. And from there, I want to get your perspective, though, because I don't know. I can't remember where you were, but I've seen this picture many, many times of you. I think you're in the Sting house, the Sting hotel suite, and you're holding Collet and Colleen, my kids, on your lap, right?
Yeah. I was, while the deal was being done, I kind of acted like a security. I remember Yves Rose,
the trafficker.
Two traffickers came in. I did like a little pat down of them, and then they went in, and then you went outside, and I stayed in the room with Colleen and Collet. while you were getting arrested. So I was like coddling them on my lap and I was looking out the window and I saw like, police come and you guys all get down on the ground. And
these kids had no idea.
For, I don't know, maybe like 30 minutes, I was just hanging out with the kids and wondering what the heck just happened to my life. So
it was kind of startling. It was our first,
it was startling. Yeah.
This worked.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking like, thank the Lord. Like even if everything fails from this point on, like it will have been worth it.
Yeah.
To just end this for these 26 kids. Right? I mean, anyone could come in and buy them for any reason. And it's so easy. It was so easy, right?
From there, we went back to the orphanage, and this is like my first experience just being shocked by
because we had to go rescue all the
all the
kids
other
out.
kids, and because you had been burned.
I got fake arrested, so I couldn't show up again.
So they were like, "Oh, Coop, you go in there," and like, mind you, I'm like completely green.
I didn't even know this.
Yeah. Well, I remember I told you I brought those.
You had the toys,
those duffel bags.
Yeah.
So I went in there to.
What was it like?
I went in there and walked around and. Dang it. Just saw like complete. Sorry, it's hard to talk about. I mean, they were like newborn babies laying in piss and feces. Kids with bloated tummies. I could see some food. It looked like a bowl with flour, and they put some water in it, just made a mush. And yeah, that was my first experience on the job in the Underground Railroad.
The traffickers weren't living that way, though, were they?
No.
It was so funny. Their office was beautiful. Like
right.
Haitian standards, but still tile floors. I remember they were eating just fine. And these kids were out because they were just keeping them alive until they could sell them. That's the third time I've seen you cry, ever. I've known you for a long time.
I don't like to tell that story for a reason.
The first time was when, we were being questioned about what we do, right? Mm-hmm. It was too good to be true for some people, right? And they were like attacking us, right? You can't be doing. I don't believe you. Me. Looks like a total turd at the end when it's all true. In fact, it wasn't just true, and this is what I was reporting to you. The numbers we had been counting for how many people we had rescued, there's like a couple thousand more rescues than you actually counted.
Oh, wow.
And I was just all pissed, and I was telling you the story. Can you believe this? The numbers, I can't remember what it was. It was actually like 8,000 or whatever it was. We could report 8,000. And I was just pissed about just being attacked. And you're just being quiet over here. I'm just like, and I look over and you have tears coming down. Not because you're pissed, but you're just like, can you believe that after 8 years or 9 years, whatever it was, that when we started in the barn, that's how many lives have been affected? That's how many people have been rescued? And that's all you saw. And it kind of melted my heart. And I was just like, oh yeah, I should probably just focus on that.
Yeah.
That was the first time I saw you cry. Second time I saw you cry when Dave Acosta died. On July 30th, 2020. We found out right as I was going on stage we just hired this guy. It's an amazing story, right? We just hired him and then he died on a
terrible
bike accident. Yeah. And now 2 of his kids, of his 3 kids, work for us. There's a spiritual element to that too. And the third time is right here. You're not a man of many tears. So you guys that's a treat to see this guy cry. It's very rare footage. It's like finding Bigfoot in the wild or something. That's what just happened here. So we get those kids out, and the constant reminder of that operation is we see my kids every day. And the other kids, we know where they went to. So that was it. That was our first operation, February 19th. I know that date too because my kid's birthday is February 19th because there was no paper on them. So the Haitians just said, well, their birthday's the day they were rescued. Mm-hmm. February 19th, 2014, very first rescue. And that was it. And then from there, we didn't have enough money even to go home. We were jumping back and forth to Colombia because we were working the Colombia cases at the same time. Remember, back and forth. And that leads us to Operation Triple Take, which we will kick off in the next episode. All right, guys, thank you for tuning in. And we'll be back with episode 2, and we're going to get into what happened after Haiti. We went from Haiti to Colombia to see what we could do there. And that's an exciting story as well. So we will see you guys next time from the Wilberforce Operations Center. Thanks for watching In the Trenches.